What's up, guys? How's it going? Glad to have you back here at the Crown One. And I wanted to touch on a subject that I have been cooking on since probably September. And it has to do with the state of AAA gaming and just the gaming genre altogether. So let's get into it. And if you guys are enjoying the content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell for the latest updates on the latest uploads for the latest content. Let's get it. Now, I've been doing this for quite some time, and I've started to name this the state of the genre. And what I mean by doing this in particular is talking about the state of the industry and how, and not just gaming industry, but also movies, streaming services on Netflix, Disney Plus, what have you. I don't think I've done a series on Disney Plus yet because I don't have a Disney Plus subscription any longer to really comment on some of the videos. I can really only comment on some of the other videos that do reviews of movies that are on Disney Plus or TV shows. But for the whole part, I've been talking about this probably about a year and a half, but focusing more so on AAA gaming projects. Now, this post came up on IGN's X page, and this, of course, you can see it's a couple days ago, something I've been just trying to brew up and just really talk about because it's something, again, that I've saying that's been on my heart. I actually had started on another article back in September, earlier this year, and I'm just transforming it into this article with IGN's messaging as far as the struggles of the AAA projects. Now, it's pretty evident that the video gaming industry, it has been experiencing a seismic shift. You know, once dominated by blockbuster AAA titles, it looks like it's facing some stark realities. And then that reality is that the bubbles burst. And many are asking, has the industry hit rock bottom? You know, I think a lot of people would be asking that. I'm definitely asking that. You know, has it reached? I would say, what would be the reverse of zenith? You know, zenith being the height. You know, what would be the opposite of that? It's the bottom. I'll just say the bottom. And it looks like developers are grappling with unprecedented challenges. You know, some of those challenges, you know, like rising costs. Some of the diminishing sales, you know, shifting consumer expectations, which are forcing a reckoning. You know, games that once captivated audiences are now met with skepticism, and it's left asking some people why. You know, it could be because of the allure of high production values, which often shadows gameplay innovation, or it could be something else. It could be It could be some I would say some raw opinions about why the sales are diminishing. So I'm going to get into that just a little. I just want to move further down here. So as players, you know, seem to be becoming more tight-fisted with their wallets, it just shows that the demand for a high-value gaming experience isn't being met. Again, why isn't it being met? The days of simply pushing out a game and reaping massive profits seem to be going away. You know, many studios are starting to pivot, and they're starting to focus instead on unique experiences like indie titles and live service models just to stay afloat. You know, of course, you know, what does that mean for the future of gaming? You know, will creativity continue to reign supreme, or will the industry continue to chase the elusive AAA gold? Is it even worth chasing AAA gold, especially with 2024's reputation of AAA gamings, which show diminishing, you know, like the title says on our X page, diminishing returns. We can look at Concord. We could look at what's on my thumbnail, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. We could look at Star Wars Outlaws. We could look at Skull and Bones, Dragon Age, Veilguard, which is a lot more recent. And from what I've seen on, you know, some of the other channels like Endymion and I want to say Geeks and Gamers, they had been reporting on it. Also, Young Ripper have been reporting on Dragon Age, the Veilguard, and I've never played any franchise Dragon Age game before, ever, at all. So this is my first time ever hearing of Dragon Age, and you're probably asking, am I a true gamer? I'll tell you to your face I am, because I don't know every single game that comes out, even sometimes the popular ones. But with that being said, Dragon Age Veilguard was met with skepticism and criticism with some of the legacy Dragon Age game players. and it just faced a lot of backlash. I think I'm going to say backlash quite a few times, and if I do, then I want a nickel for every time I've said it. However, moving forward, it looks like it's almost like a bit of a culture war that you see going on, where you're seeing critical moments with developers and gamers alike. It looks like they're navigating through the landscape together. Another issue is being that the games are saying that games are trash, and unfortunately, the devs are saying that the gamers are trash for not liking them. I think this is an issue that I'd like to highlight, that I've been highlighting probably since I started talking about the state of the genre. I want to say August of last year is when I started. And I know that's still late to the party, because I'm not trying to in so much pick a sides. I mean, I guess I already am on the side since I'm a gamer and not a dev, but I don't want to line up that juxtaposition, because I don't want to look at it as us versus them. Unfortunately, some people see it that way, whether you're a dev or you're a gamer or a CEO. But what I have seen is gamers, from what I said earlier, gamers are just not liking the games. And it's not even just the games, but it's also the association that comes with the game. So looking at some of the comments that I've seen coming from devs and also CEOs, just what I reported in my last video on the state of the genre, it just seems like there is a bit of a bickering session, and I don't want to belittle either side, but just to recognize that there is a mismatch, because you see devs, when they realize their games are not being liked by gamers, they start going after a certain type of gamer. And I'm not going to say who. I'm not going to, get into politics or any type of social constructs or whatever. I'll simply say that as a dev, and I've said this before, and I really, I'm kind of beating a dead horse here. If you're developing a game and you want to sell to somebody, you don't get to pick who you get to sell to when it comes to selling your product. You make it for everybody, and unfortunately, not everybody's gonna like it. But for the people that don't like it, the one thing you don't want to do is bash the people that don't like it. For whatever reason, they may not like it. And I'm saying this also as a company owner myself. Nobody asked me to do this. Nobody said, hey, the Crown One, get on YouTube, start making videos. Nobody asked the devs to make a game and then expect people to like it. And if they don't like it, then they're whatever. I'm not really going into titles here or pejoratives specifically. I'm simply pointing out the fact that regardless of what you think of people, regardless of what you think of customers, and I say this to the devs, because I think responsibility can be taken on both sides, but I want to speak to the devs because they are the provider. I'm speaking to them as they are the provider. If you're trying to sell to somebody, you don't want to bash the people you're trying to sell to. That just, even, it makes me sad. And I think it's coming from a place of sadness, because if you've ever gamed long enough, if you've gamed for longer than 5 years, the community that, the gaming community is a unique community. A lot of times we don't meet each other in reality. We meet each other in cyberspace, in the gaming verse, if you will, and we hash out a game, to break from reality. That's really what it is. Or you want to learn a complex, puzzle that you're trying to solve, like Tetris, for those who still play it. I still think it's an awesome game. Or you're just trying to, let off some steam and play Helldivers 2. Of course, Helldivers 2 is probably not the best game to play when you're trying to relax. What you don't want is to be antagonized. You don't want to be insulted. And that brings more to the point of what I want to also talk about is, if you recall back in, I want to say May, when Sony, and some of you who've been tracking this know very well what I'm about to address, Sony back in May, and I even did a video on this, I did a short. They required that Steam PC players pay for a PlayStation Network subscription in order to continue to have access to a game they already played for. Now, that was Helldivers 2. Now, if you had Helldivers 2 on a PlayStation console, you were already paying for a subscription. But now they were about to demand that PC players have a PlayStation subscription in order to continue access to Helldivers 2. Well, that was met with a big heck no. And Sony smartly backed down, but the damage had already been done. And again, this is an overall arc of the damage being done to gamers, whether it be insults, whether it be policy, whether it be you're trying to continue an online service by forcing subscriptions on your player base. I'm not going to get too far back into it because I already covered it when it comes to PlayStation Network and their issue with Helldivers 2 and Arrowhead, the studio that developed Helldivers franchise. You know, you guys can look that up yourself, but this goes more so to the overall arc of how unfortunate not just companies but also AAA games have been doing so poorly. If you've checked out some of the other YouTube channels that are reporting on Ubisoft stocks, they're dropping. I even just did a more recent article on how Ubisoft's shutting down XDefiant due to low sales. The numbers just aren't there anymore. You know, and that's more so on the subject of live services. But again, bouncing back to the AAA games, I think there has to be a coming to peace moment. And I honestly believe that it may need to be initiated by the devs, simply because the insults, and I'm not saying it's one-sided. You know, gamers can be a bit tight sometimes, but I don't think that justifies insulting them, especially when you need money from them to survive. Disagreements, hey, let's hash it out. You have a disagreements? Okay, let's find out what we're disagreeing on. Let's see if we can find common ground. But just going straight into insults, not best practice. You know, so I hope that some of these AAA games get their act together and tighten up, you know, because as you see up here in the IGN article, about 23,000 plus people are losing their jobs, and that's not including XDefiant, because I had covered that article. I think it's people are losing jobs in the hundreds, about 130 some odd people, 170 some odd people losing their jobs. And you know, numbers wise, you might not think that's a whole issue, but if you look at it in terms of the size of a company or a studio, where you're seeing tens of people, you know, being shown the door, no longer able to provide for themselves for that time, it can come as a bit of a shock, especially when they've dug in their roots and plan to stick around and hopefully make some good content. That's, in my opinion, should never be celebrated. When somebody loses their job, I don't think people should be rallying behind that and kind of thumbing their nose at them. Because again, these people are losing their livelihoods. We may disagree or agree on certain things, but wishing harm on someone, I don't think that's best practice. So let me know what you guys think. Hey, look, I hope you guys are enjoying the content, and if you are, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell for the latest updates on the latest uploads for the latest content. This is Crime One signing off, and I'll talk to y'all later.